the negative side of growth. Today's video, I will review the various happiness eaters in your life. This sounds counterintuitive because there's nothing worth living for. The only reason I'm on your channel is because I'm depressed, anxious, lack of direction. Every negativity is captured within my life. That's my purpose for being on your channel. And now you say I have some happiness eater in my life. It's impossible because for you to eat, there has to be food. For the happiness eater to find expression within my life, then happiness has to be existent, which is not the case with me. I'm going to prove to you why that statement is false. It's even worse if you are an intelligent individual, because if you are intelligent, you have this obsession, this drive for competence and excellence. This obsession drives you to be as meticulous with various activities as possible. For instance, I would watch this video back, although the information and the exegesis was interesting, although every single person is worshiping me in the comment section, I got a lot of value from this video, although the positive comments would eventually outweigh the negative, because there's no light without dark, which is something we'll get into at the end of this discourse. But the point I'm trying to highlight, I would obsess over that moment where I used the word I wasn't supposed to use, or stutter. In fact, this is captured in human nature. I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to pause this video and answer. As a sovereign individual, which do you focus on? What you have or what is missing? Exactly. So when you tilt towards the direction of this principle, you are doubling down on an already existent human nature, further compounding your misery. So this obsession for perfection, this always discrediting yourself, can lead to negative self-talk. And that's why they say most intelligent people are known as, because we have this high conception of self. There's always something new to learn. And once you see an idea, and this has nothing, or this is not just limited, I stuttered, and I'm going to obsess over the fact that I stuttered. But this concept isn't limited to the intellectual domain. It can also be applied to other ventures. For instance, if there's something you want to be competent at, it's most likely you would focus on your weaknesses at the expense of your strength. Just like the analogy I gave, ignoring all of the rants, the motivational speech, the ability to vary tonality, and all of the aspects, the information I thought, every single thing positive about this video, then focusing on that 1% mistake, using it as an alibi that you're not perfect, which is the case. But most often than not, you discredit yourself more than encourage yourself. Negative self-talk. This can become, or this can begin a negative spiral in your life. And every intelligent person can resonate with this concept. You see a new word or an idea that you're unfamiliar with. That reinforces the belief that you're not enough, that there's something else you need to learn. And unfortunately, this stalls your achievements, because once you only receive what you feel like you're worthy for, if you don't feel like you're worthy, it's never going to come. Unfortunately, so for as long as you foolishly believe, there's one podcast you need to listen, there's one book you need to read, there's one more word you need to learn. it would never arrive. Perfection is highly desirable, but nothing man-made is or can be perfect. To wait for perfection is to wait forever. It's in the similitude, and I've given this analogy countless times. I'll make this trip once all the lights are green. What are the chances of you making that trip? They're in the single digits. Start where you stand. More tools will be found along the way. Now, I'm in no way negating the imposing of stringent rules upon self for the sake of achievement and competence coupled with excellence. That's far from the truth. That's far from what I'm advocating for. However, what I am against is it being the only thing we focus on. I was so focused on growth that I had no idea the level, the stature I have attained, not just intellectually, but financially. That you are so busy, you have no time to measure your progress. You are only focused on what is not working and trying to make it work. Then what is working, you enforce it. You have no time to judge yourself in the natural. Do not discredit yourself. Do not discredit yourself. There is no such thing as perfection. Solomon captures it in the Bible very perfectly. He said, too much study is a weariness to the soul. Even though you consume all the knowledge, all the philosophy, grasp all the quotes, how long will that take you? My friend, time is finite. Unfortunately, time is the unit of destiny. That's why it's called lifetime. What you did with your time determines what you achieve with your life. So if you spend time jerking up to Pornhub, doing degenerate stuff, not going to the gym, not increasing your intellect, your life will be filled with regrets and pain. Because unfortunately, my friends, the road to heaven feels like hell. The road to hell feels like heaven. Life is filled with hidden contradictions. That the road to hell feels like heaven, and the road to heaven feels like hell. The decision you have to make for yourself. Most times, I get up by 4 a.m., 4:30 in the morning. That's 30 minutes earlier for my schedule, maybe to take a piece or to do something. The initial inclination, go back to sleep. You wake up 30 minutes later or utilize every single time you have for rest. But this gravitation towards comfort will leave you an underachiever. And in that weak state, I drag myself to the place of work, study, consecrate myself, give myself to the things that actually matter. That's why Paul said, I beat my body daily. Success is a rent you have to pay. In fact, everything in life is rented. Your relationship is rented. Your time is rented. Your family is rented. If you stop paying the rent towards those externalities, you're going to lose them. In the same vein as your house, the moment you stop remitting rent, what happens? Exactly. So the moment you stop paying the rent to your family, to your relationship, you lose them. And for those peasants who are literal minded, who think every single thing is about economics and finances, rent can mean your time. Rent can mean that goodwill message. Rent can mean the birthday card. Rent can be the condolences over the loss of a loved one. Those are the rents you pay. If you extrapolate that concept to your own life, there are rents you pay in order to attain success. rent, loss of sleep, rent, sacrifice. Sacrifice is the language of champions. There's nobody you know today who hasn't sacrificed to get where he is, good or bad. Even if you tilt towards the occult, you still have to sacrifice human life. You have to sacrifice yourself. Listen to the confessions of witches. There are people who do not see the light of day for extended amount of time. There are some who fast for years, years without food. And once that kind of person stands up, you as a believer who has been asking God for forgiveness, you who is still struggling with pornography, is that the kind of person you want to contend against? You see, the church will forever be a laughing stock until you get to the point of maturity. The church is still trying to manage things like manipulation of tithes, offerings. The church is still trying to manage gossip. The church is still trying to manage negative speaking. The church is still trying to manage infighting. Yet their counterparts have spread across the globe. Yet their counterparts are giving offerings. Yet their counterparts are willing to sacrifice lives. Yet their counterparts are willing to go through every single thing as touching that result. That's the level of sacrifice. Level of sacrifice. Level of sacrifice. You go to the church, you pay tithes, and you are gauging the pastor's lifestyle. Whereas there are people who have submitted themselves to the cause. There are people who have literally died to themselves for the purposes of the Satan or Shaitan. There are people who have done all kinds of things, prostrated, used the blood of virgins, in fact, sacrificed their offspring in order to attain a position. You come there with your Bible after jerking off to Pornhub last night. You are not serious. You will die. You will die. I don't mean this. Literally, you will die. You need to wake up. This is the time where you need to give up stupid shit. Even the Bible says it. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I understood like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things, childish businesses, childish conversation, childish things. There are things today you shouldn't be interacting with. There are conversations that should be far from your vicinity. While your contemporary teenagers are thinking of the next level of innovation, the next level of Facebook, the next level, the next bandwagon they can be part of in order to liberate themselves and every single person within their radius financially. What are you talking about? The biggest wedding, the biggest birthday party. Oh, XYZ has more money than XYZ. Oh, look at the stats. Very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate that majority of you will get on your knees, tell God this is the last time XYZ would happen, and you truly mean it, only for you to go back to Netflix. In fact, if you were God, would you take that kind of person serious? I want you to imagine God gazing down upon your peasant ass as you break promises to yourself. You should feel ashamed of going back against your own words. That's beyond the discourse of tonight's video. Tonight's video is fixated on the eradication of negative self-talk, especially as a competent individual. Now, I'm telling you to allow yourself to feel worthy. Give yourself permission for the good things. Majority of you have suffered. Now, there are people today who have achieved little to nothing, or there are people today who have put in little to no work And when they hear things like this, give yourself permission. It appeals to the laziness. No, trust God for grace. Listen to various motivational videos on my platform and see how you can improve yourself. That's not the kind of people I'm talking. The kind of people I'm speaking to are the ones who have sacrificed friends, relationship, blood, sweat, and tears. Give yourself permission to feel great. Give yourself permission to feel worthy. Give yourself permission to go after it. Don't wait till you read one more book, listen to one more podcast, wait for something external to validate your existence, wait for something to give yourself permission to feel happy, to feel confident. And I say give yourself permission. I mean this literally. When an athlete crosses test, nobody encourages him or her to trick dopamine into her hair. Nobody motivates or inspire that athlete to feel happy. It comes naturally. So that athlete gave him or herself permission to feel in a certain way. It's the same thing with you. Majority are waiting for the external results to manifest in order to feel confident, in order to feel like a leader. It ought not to be so. It doesn't work that way. In fact, if you study manifestation, it is littered in their studies. You have to become the kind of person you wish to become. Evolve from thinking of it to thinking from it. Don't wait till I have X amount in the bank, then I will walk up to this girl. And unfortunately, that's the case for most of you. When X amount comes in, I would meet XYZ lady. She's way above my pay grade. She is way above my pay grade. She's out of my league. It's impossible for me to get this quality of woman. If your brain is listening, your mind is listening, because the unconscious influences the conscious. You would so avoid that quality of ladies, unconsciously so, such that your reality is surrounded by substandard individuals. Think about it for a second. The kind of life you have is as a consequence of your unconscious mind. What you believe you have, what you believe your worth, your true worth. So whenever you look around your circumstance and you don't like what you're seeing, it is an instruction your unconscious has given the conscious to operate. Refuse to be poor, refuse to be timid, refuse to be shy, refuse all of these negative attributes and you'll be fine. As always, my friend, it's a pleasure speaking to you and see you in the next one.